All right, welcome to the True Nature Insight Sessions. My name is Joshua Canter, and I'm really excited to be with a dear old friend today, Mar y Sol Barquero. And Mar y Sol and I have known each other for, I think, about 15 years now, something like this. Mar y
Mm.
Sol and I met for the first time in Costa Rica, and she spent some time actually on the original True Nature land, the True Nature community. And from there, she started working with us, leading some of our groups. And I've always, looked up to Marisol as a wonderful soul, and also just a wonderful person and leader and reflection. And so I thought it would be, great to talk to you today and just hear from you a little bit about your experience during this time of COVID, and what it's like in Costa Rica, what it's like in your communities, what kind of insights and perspectives you've been receiving, and just for naming where we're at, it's April 24th right now, and today, and for us in the U.S., we're in our fifth week of uh, of of sheltering in place. I like to call it retreating in place, but lockdown, quarantine, whatever we want to call it. So, yeah, how long have you all been? Um,
For us, it started on March 16th, so pretty much when the airports were shut down. So yeah, it's been a little bit over a month now.
mm,
Yeah. So, well, for us, it's been like really crazy because personally, I completely underestimated the whole thing. And we had friends that were talking about it, well, since January, since February. Like we had, well, this friend in common, Edu, he was saying like, hey, I think we should start like getting prepared for this. And we were like, oh, you're exaggerating. And now that I look back into it, I'm like, oh my God. But and on the bright side, being at home and like being able to slow down was something that I was actually asking for,
mm,
which is like, oh my God, I've been asking for so many things, but the universe is giving me this, and it's been a gift in that way. And to be with my baby and to be with my family, well, my nuclear family, because I haven't seen my parents in over a month, and I really miss them, as I'm sure like everybody is missing some of their relatives as well that live a little bit farther. But yeah, it's been crazy. And I I think we're really blessed that we have like land and we have a river in our property and we have like this little mountain that we can go and retreat to pretty much. But I know and I'm really aware that's not the case for every family, and not even like some of our neighbors that are having like a really hard time struggling through these weeks that since the quarantine started. So yeah, we've seen like really close friends like lose their jobs, start wondering how they're going to pay their next month's rent. Some, well, not our close friends, but our close neighbors that haven't had anything to eat. So um, it's it's super mind blowing, but at the same time, as we saw the community, like our little town is called El Roble, and it's very small, but and we know everybody in our street, but we don't know obviously everybody in town. But we've seen how everybody's getting organized to just make sure that everybody has food on their tables during all these weeks that are going to be long and hard for a lot of the people that have lost their jobs or their main income. So yeah, it's it's just really crazy times. I didn't think I was going to go through this in January for sure.
mm. Yeah, for sure. And being a new mother, and with already that change upon you, and yeah, I can definitely I can feel for you all, and I think For me, um, it's really important to have this global perspective about the impact of COVID-19 and how it's affecting different communities around the world. And I've been, really moved to, um, feeling into the since sadness and the hardship of communities like your neighbors that are really dealing with, the struggle on a survival level of just having enough food, enough food to put on our table and on their table. And it's something, here in the US, at least in the communities that I'm connected with, it's, people are, complaining about not being able to go out to dinner, or, not, being able to, go to the, you know, the, the hairstylist or the salon. And it's like, hey, look what other people are dealing with, like,
Yeah, I saw on the news, on the US news, somebody complaining about that she wasn't able to go to the hairdresser. And I was like, okay, I guess we all grieve different things.
yes. Yeah, we all have our
But
different attachments, different attachments for sure.
yeah, but I did have to do, like, there was one week, I guess it's also our fourth or fifth now for us, but I think somewhere around the third or the second, that it was like a slap in the face, because I felt like already we've done so good. Like, here, actually, the government has done an amazing job at testing people and isolating the people that are ill and taking care of the people that are positive in COVID-19. And the numbers are actually very low right now. Like, only 6 people have died in the entire country,
Mhm.
and like just yesterday there were, I think, only 10 people that were positive out of hundreds that were tested. So, but at some point, yeah, I was like, oh my God, we're doing so good. We're going to get out of this soon. And then time is just not as normal as I thought, as I remembered it. Because now time, like, is like we cannot look too much ahead. Like, and I miss that. I miss being able to plan 2 weeks in advance, a month in advance. And we just can't right now. We just have to, it's another level of patience right now. It's like
Mhm.
we have to breathe day by day. And I guess now, well, about the spiritual practices, I'm really happy that I have meditation. I've been, well, because I have a baby, I haven't been meditating as I wanted to. But now that my husband's working less hours and that I'm not working too much at all, I get to meditate again. And that's so awesome because I have
Mhm.
the chance to breathe again. And oh my God, and it's just so, it's not even uplifting. It's not the word. It's just like it brings serenity back. Every time that I kind of feel a little bit sad or overwhelmed and I get the chance to meditate, it just brings that serenity that it's kind of like it's going to be okay, but in a deeper level. I don't know how to explain, you
Yeah.
know? So, anyway,
Yeah.
those were like some of the things that I'm really grateful that I got the chance to learn meditation like many years ago, because it has been one of the things that I have been like really, really useful. And of course, like hatha yoga, it's always nice to practice and all, but it's meditation is just like so much better. I don't know.
Yeah, I think practices practices like meditation and any kind of present moment grounding practices can be so
Hmm.
helpful in times of crisis and trauma and extreme change. And I know for myself, I've definitely been just relying on these practices have made it, something every single day, since since COVID started that I need to have, at least a few minutes sitting on my cushion just to allow myself just um, to process and allow my mind to slow down and just connect with my body. And yeah, it's been a pillar for me, always is, but definitely in times like this, feeling that
Totally.
um, the practice is so important.
Yeah, it's been almost like a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Like in our mental health right now, it's just like I would definitely recommend people to just start meditating if they haven't started already and just keep it up because it has definitely helped me, and I've seen the people that are meditating that they just agree that it's just so powerful. And
Hmm.
I mean, it's not, mm, I don't think the word is simple because you have to look inside and you have to like sit with yourself. And I know for myself, like I am trying to look for opportunities to get distracted on social media or, whatever that doesn't require me to look inside. But
Hmm.
now it's like we're all home. Um, we don't have too many excuses. And even us as parents, like there's always time, and kids are always such a great mirror to help us look inside as well. But in meditation, it's like you're face to face with your fears,
Hmm. Completely.
and in a way, I guess it's empowering to look at them, but it's also, I guess, when you stop running away from what you're actually scared of, you get a chance to just change perspectives. And that again is like so important right now, I feel. Just being able to change perspectives and accept that, well, I also had to do some grieving of like letting go of the things that I liked about my normal. Like, yeah, yes, I also grieve like being able to go to restaurants or having a routine of going to work to Pura Vida that I loved, and so I have to go through this little grief to accept that we are all also the lucky ones that we're giving a chance to reinvent ourselves, I
Mm.
guess.
Yeah, I feel like you're touching on a lot of what I've reflected upon as the kind of different elements or facets of this COVID-19 experience. I feel like there's a very strong uh, kind of polarity, like different sides to the experience, where on some levels it is so devastating, and people have lost jobs and the economy has been so greatly impacted, and the need of food, and those that are sick. And on the other side, there's I feel like an awakening happening, and kind of you've touched on a few points of just wanting, you said you wanted to slow down for so long, and now we're all being forced to slow down, and this opportunity to utilize our practices, like, okay, like now is a good time to to use our tools, if that's meditation or prayer or yoga,
Mm.
whatever it is, and then also
Or all.
or all everything. And yeah, and also this chance, like you were saying, to reinvent ourselves. Like, we are, I feel like, in a time of transformation right now, and it's being catalyzed by this global experience that's happening. And so, utilizing this opportunity, like, wow, how do I want to um, transform through this? And that now, kind of in the middle of it, I feel like we're kind of in the middle of this. I've been thinking about, okay, like what do I want to take from this, and how do I want to sustain this experience? Um, when this cycle is complete, and when everything starts to rev up again as fast as it was before, like how do we want to retain and sustain some of this energy that we have right now?
Yeah, I've been actually thinking about that because right now it's kind of easier to say like, oh, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm going to keep this serenity, I'm going to keep this nice slow pace. But how do we actually linger into the things that are really important? I don't know if I'm making sense, but I know that it's going to be tricky because there's so many things. Oh, sorry, there's a truck going by. But there's some things that are like like all the things we buy and all the things that we consume that are really actually not that important. But I think that maybe the way to do it is to work again with our intentions first of what we want to create first, and from where we want to create it. and and I think this is true for true nature, and this is true for myself, that I feel like we actually work from the heart, but now it's like taking it to the next level. Like it's this opportunity to recreate always from the heart, but I feel like the perspective is so different. But I don't know if it's because we've been home so much, you know? I just want to keep this.
Yeah,
And I'm not completely sure how, but I think it's something along the lines that of like really putting like clear intentions into the next steps of going back to like whatever normal is.
definitely. I love that. I think, I keep on seeing this, as I've mentioned today and some of the other series sessions that we've done. I see this journey as like a retreat, and we're in
Totally.
retreat now. And just as like when a retreat is coming to completion, we think about, okay, like how are we going to take the tools, the practices from this retreat into our everyday life? And I think you're right on. I love the concept and the practice of intention and intention setting. And I think it starts there. It's like, okay, like what is working for us right now? Like what my practice is strong. I'm slowing down. I'm with my family. I have these, like we don't want this to stop, but the reality is life is always changing. And so we're going to go back to some form of normal. But yeah, okay, like we're going to set these intentions as we return back to this next phase of life. And uh and I also like, I've been talking a lot about documenting. That's part of the reason why I'm doing these sessions, is like we can look back at them and watch them and be like,
Oh,
oh, this is what was happening, this is where we were, this is what we were feeling. I've also been doing a lot more writing than I've been doing in the past, and just journaling these days, like, wow, this is what's going on, so I can also look back and read what the experience was. But I think those intentions, and then holding ourselves accountable. It's like, this is my intention to do this, and having some form of self-discipline. And then also I think
mm-hmm.
that's where the community comes in, and that's where like our families come in and our friends. It's like, let's do this together. Like I want to hold you accountable, you can hold me accountable, and like let's continue to move on from here, even going you know deeper than the heart, like integrating this heart energy into our whole beings, and moving it outwards from there. So
Yeah.
I love
I
these.
love that concept. I love both concepts of documenting in any way, like journaling and well, and these videos that you're doing. I'm curious to see all the others, by the way. But yeah, because I think that's a great way to refresh our memories of what we were experiencing, what we are experiencing right now. And also, uh, what was the second thing you mentioned? The community,
Mhm.
and having our closest people around us remind ourselves, like help each other in in the reminding of where we are at and what we're doing and holding ourselves accountable. I love that. I'm gonna take that from you.
Mm, yeah. And I also think integrating slowly, you know, like just as when we leave retreat, we always remind people like you don't need to jump back on your phone. Like you don't need to jump back into, moving 100 miles per hour. And I think that is something as we begin this transition, like, today is an interesting day because Georgia, which is the state just south of North Carolina, has decided that they're just going to basically just open up today.
I
They're opening up
heard
spas and gyms and and
beauty salons and
beauty
everything.
salons and everything. And then on Monday, they're opening restaurants and they're just no time for transition. And the governor of the state is basically just like, it's time to get back. Like, let's get back to our lives. Like there's enough of this, and all of us, the majority of the world or the country, and I think the world too, is like, wow, that is very radical. Like, why do you need to move so quickly? And I think we can kind of take that reflection into our individual lives. Is like, do we need to jump back in? um, I definitely don't want to. And I think that transition, just like, hey, take it slow. Like
Mhm.
take the transition slow, integrate in your own way, in a way that's going to be supportive and nurturing to you and also to the community and to the planet.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to, that's a great analogy because I think we all have the part that we're ready to jump in, but our wiser selves are like, hold on. I can see that duality in myself so much,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and I think in the transition, we just have to like keep on our practicing and practices and keep on whatever uh good that we were doing in this quarantine to sustain ourselves mentally and spiritually. And I think that's probably one of the keys into a slow, thoughtful transition, you know. And also well, for me, it's been like so important, the community part. Because I know you live in a strong community. And Nashville is, I think it's a very different community from all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But here, checking in with the neighbors, because the thing is, like, our neighbors, we have not too much in common, rather that we live on the same street. I mean, of course we connect better with others and all of that, but checking in with the neighbors, and that's been like one of the lessons, and it's been one of the gifts, like, um we always think that we're open and that we're open. I want to think of myself as an open-hearted person and as an open-minded person, and I still believe that we don't have to be friends with everybody, but being able to connect with our neighbors, just to check in like as humans, like, hey, how are you doing? Are you being able to eat today? How's the baby coming along? And just creating just like heartfelt relationships, even though we're not going to be best friends forever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's been like, also, that's one of the things that I want to, that I'm positive is going to stay, um, as we transition into whatever new normal we'll have after this.
Mm, definitely. That's beautiful. And yeah, I feel like just because all of us have gone through this experience now, we're gonna have a new level of like I talked about yesterday with my dear friend Batsheva. We're gonna have a new level of resilience and also a new level of compassion and
Hmm.
and I think connecting with those around us, we're going to be able to share something in common. You know, this is something incredible. The whole world is sharing in common in this drastic
Mm-hmm.
way, you know, having these conversations with people all over the world, and we're all having very similar realizations and very um, just dramatic experiences of like, wow, suddenly our lives are turned upside down. So that's where something with our neighbors that, yeah, like you said, same with me. I mean, we live in the country, and my neighbors are very different in many ways to us, but we're all still, you know, humans having this human experience of shifting and transforming and having a lot of our basic comforts being pulled from us. So I love that you're in, you know, reaching out and supporting your neighbors, making sure they have enough food and that they're just taken care of.
Yeah, yeah, it's been in that way, it's been beautiful, I feel. Yeah, and eye-opening. Yeah, it's felt like a slap in the face, but in a good way.
Hmm.
Well, I guess we humanity kind of needed that slap.
I agree completely. Yes, this
Yeah.
this was a well needed, you know, even though very, very difficult, but I feel like well needed catalyst that needed to arrive, and it's here for
Yeah.
a reason. Um, well, I'm really grateful for this time, Mar y Sol, and it's wonderful to
Oh,
reconnect and hear your perspective, your beautiful, insightful perspective of your COVID-19 experience, and yeah, I would love to keep in touch. And you know, I was actually thinking for the first time in this session, like it would be really neat to do this again, you know, maybe in a few months when
mm-hmm,
hopefully this cycle has been completed and we can reflect and also talk about, you know, what the lessons were we pulled from it and like how we are still integrating them and practicing them and holding each
mm-hmm.
other accountable too. So it'd be
Yes,
great.
please.
Totally. Well,
Yeah, thanks so much for connecting, Josh, and thanks so much for documenting this. I think it's going to be very valuable to look back on this and just and that you have like a collection of different experiences from people all over. I think it's really valuable, and well, and thanks for doing this, and I always feel like you're always connecting from the heart with everybody, so thanks for that as well.
thank you, Marisol. Igualmente. All right.
Yeah.
Well, this is Joshua Canter. This is the COVID-19 Insight series and sessions, and we're here with Mar y Sol Barquero, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to connect. And wishing everyone well wherever you may be.
Bye, thank you.